Today's episode of the Life of Phys Podcast is brought to you by Very Good Presets. All photographers know how saturated and underwhelming the preset market can be. You see some styles you like, you buy that pack of 20 presets, and when you put them on your photo, none of them look like what you expected. Very Good Presets has a different approach to color grading. Rather than a pack of presets, they offer them one at a time with modifiers to help refine that preset to your liking. Each preset has months of focus and calibration to make sure you get an incredible end result. Their film emulations have been used by major brands and artists such as country superstar Luke Combs. Additionally, a growing community of users rally around the brand and its developers to inspire and encourage one another. Very Good Presets strives to be an industry leader in a culture of generosity, giving regularly to organizations that help underserved communities have access to cameras, film, and photography equipment. My personal favorite preset is 1956, but with the recent release of the Portra 800, that may change soon. Check out Very Good Presets at verygoodpresets.com and try one or more of their presets using our discount code, Life of Phys. Welcome to the Life of Phys Podcast. I'm your host, Tyson Martin. On this episode, I have Ricky Shoebio. Ricky is a New York City-based creative director, photographer, and founder of Know Your Dope, L.L.C, who has worked with brands like Nike, Samsung, Tesla, and Roc Nation. After stepping away from journalism in 2018, he launched the content collective Know Your Dope LLC to focus on visual storytelling. Ricky and the KYD team have been the creative director and agency behind editorial photography and campaigns for Foot Inc., NYFW, Puma, Nike, Reebok, Converse, Polaris, Complex, Adidas, Vans, Fanatics, Roku, and many others in the sports, entertainment, automotive, tech, and fashion spaces. Now let's hear a word from our podcast partner and get to the show. The Life of Phys Podcast is lit by HoboLight. HoboLight is on a mission to empower creators to elevate their creativity with lighting kits made to last and built to inspire. These lights are bold, beautiful, and powerful because HoboLight believes that your lights deserve to be seen. To learn more, follow them on Instagram at HoboLite.
I'm Ricky Shoebio from New Jersey, photographer and creative director. I mean, a lot of different styles of work I do, and a lot of things that I have as inspirations and things like that, but shooting for a little bit of time. But visual art has always been something that I appreciated in so many different ways. So, like, I have my inspirations that come through now, and it's blossomed into a lot of beautiful work in my portfolio for the agency I own and for some of the partnerships I've had.
I noticed that you've done collabs, it looks like, with Puma and Nike, Pepsi. How did all those come about?
So one of the biggest things for me, it's two-sided. So initially I started off in journalism some time ago, let's say maybe 2014. A friend contact, had a medium-sized publication. So not a household, not too big, not anything like that. They were in the couture space and wanted to get into the lifestyle space. So I initially started out writing pieces for couture. So, I was a contributor, uncredited, doing different back stuff and all that. And from there, I worked my way up through the publication. So I went from being a contributor to an official writer to an editor to the executive editor and worked my way up that. So I built a lot of relationships with a lot of the business contacts and relationships and the brands through that way. So I understood what they needed. They had their press kits, they had their rollouts, they had all these different things for all their initiatives, all that stuff that we were trying to help amplify. That was also my intro into photography because us being a smaller to medium-sized publication, we wanted to make sure that, people knew who we were and we stood out because, editorial and print are, from a journalism standpoint, are a dying medium. People are reading the way they were, it's not a thing. And then also, what was happening in some of the niches we were in the lifestyle space, you'd see articles cited from multiple places at multiple places with the same thing. So it's kind of like, once a company put out whatever they wanted or somebody else wrote it and somebody wrote something that was special, most places would cite that other place. So we wanted original think pieces. So that started out on the journalism side, but we were still receive the pictures and the kits from the brand. And even so, in this day and age, when you see the same set of pictures from whatever rollout, whatever event, whatever initiative, that's not going to make you click it either. So we took an approach that we also wanted to start capturing our own original content there. So that's what got me into photography, using some other people's cameras. And then also there was a point with, we had a Google sponsorship, and we ended up using, I used moment lens stacked on Google cameras just to elevate it a little bit more. And this is the early days of, made by pixel, shot on Google, this, that era, So that was my initial start into it, editing in Lightroom and, Photoshop from there on mobile photography. Mobile photography that was elevated.
That's an incredible journey from the mobile photography to where you are now.
It is. It's been very special. I mean, for me, to see a lot of what I've been able to do and how I've been able to do a lot of it, and just remember that it started here and I went independent, leaving that publication and starting my own consulting agency and doing that stuff one-to-one and doing personality work where I partnered with people and stepped in front of the camera and all that stuff, to where we are now, where I've directed and creative directed ads and been able to bring in people, have that autonomy, creativity standpoint, from a staffing standpoint, even being able to have discernment around the projects we take. I understand the blessing that it is for the space that I'm in and that I'm trying to create for others as well.
And is your agency Kids?
Yes. So, Kid is the agency, which is short for No You Don't. But yeah, Kid is the agency. I founded it in 2018, and I say I specifically, but I'll give more detail. In 2018, November 2018, I launched Kid after sitting down with my circle. Full of my friends and said, hey, I'm thinking about stepping away from journalism. I want to step away from the publication. Where do you think that things could go next? What do you think we should do? And a few people said, well, you can come out with your own media outlet. You can do this and a third. And I was like, this is 2018. I foresaw a lot of what we see now, but at least I also called out that you get a lot more front-facing, almost personality, VJ, dating myself, saying VJ, everybody's not even going to VJs, but like that style of anchor content, reporter content for a lot of these publications. And that was the direction I wanted to go in while I was at the publication, but that wasn't something we saw eye to eye on. So I told my team, kind of starting that on your own to build your own conglomerate or even entity. Sorry, not conglomerate, entity. It's going to be tough from a publication standpoint. And I saw a few actually doing it work. But from there, what I actually said was, okay, let's go into the other side. Let's consult. What does that look like? And being able to have that in 2018, have my circle support me for an entire year, I literally ended up saying, hey, I'm going to relinquish 100% equity to this to drop down to 50%, to split the other 50% between you guys and give you equity and make you owners. So we now own the company together, and that's just for me showing gratitude for how much they did to support me within that first year.
It's amazing to have a circle of people like we were talking about before we went on, having that circle and that community to help carry you when you needed to figure out exactly the footholds you had to take.
Oh, absolutely.
For you to split the company with your circle, just shows how much of a stand-up guy you are and how appreciative you were of their time, their effort, and their support of you.
I appreciate that greatly. I mean, it's something that's kind of ingrained into the identity of the business. So even one thing that we've tended to do on a lot of our projects, as we've had more say, as we've had more control, is we'll look to hire a one first timer per production crew. Hey, you know, if you don't have the experience, because the industry, which I know you're experienced with, is a very tricky thing. It's a catch-22 of, you know, people that don't do it professionally 24/7 want to get the experience, but the people that hire won't hire you unless you have the experience. So it's like, well, how do I get the experience if you aren't giving me the experience? And you just get caught up in the loop. So one thing that we've looked to do is, whether it's production assistants, people that want to understand stuff like that, you know, even show running and stuff like that. We kind of have like an accelerator program where we will bring in people to give them opportunity to be on professional set, pay them solid wages for that day, and make sure they can understand what the experience is to get more familiar.
That is such a beautiful way to look at growing the future, because it is such a catch-22.
Yeah.
You can't get experience without someone giving you a chance, but no one will give you a chance to gain experience.
Right.
So what you're doing is you're opening a space for a young creator, a young powerhouse that could be just an amazing artist who finally got that foot in the door and turns out to be, you know, man, I'll date myself, the next Spike Lee.
There you go.
Legendary, right?
Mm-hmm.
What you're doing that is exactly what I want to see when I'm able to branch out the Phys brand. I want to bring on first-time editors. I want to bring on all of these people to help me when I'm at the point I can do it. I want to give the new generation that chance to find out, hey, editing takes 7 hours for a 1 hour episode. Like, they don't know that. But without that ability or that chance, what do we have? We have us doing all the work ourselves and basically not giving anybody the chance to gain experience.
Absolutely. And the biggest thing for me is I don't even look to limit it to someone's necessary age around it. Like, if somebody, I found photography later in my life. I'm not old, so like not lately, but later amongst other things. No, man, no. You're only as old as you feel, and I fully believe that. So if somebody's got the passion and the dedication, because I'm big on always saying, you know, will over skill every day. You know, you can teach skill, but you can't teach will. So if somebody has the desire to be involved, we'll open the doors for them at any time and figure out how we can place them, what can be placed, and what they're ready for. And, you know, it's two-sided because, of course, it's the opportunity and a moment to get better. But what's also interesting is preparation and being ready for the moment when it's presented. Any of the ads that people have seen me work on, we've done this almost every time. You know, at least one person on a less than, you know, one for like 8. So on set where maybe we have 15 or 16, maybe I do 2, or maybe we do 2, you know. So in different projects and different roles and different amounts of support. And it's been something that's been a beautiful thing, because at the end of the day, we don't want to take the credit. I don't want the credit. Nobody has to do anything. Nobody has to mention my name anywhere in this capacity. But if we can help somebody else along their journey, then we're doing the right thing.
Definitely. It's commendable. I mean, a lot of places won't do that. So how often do you find that when you open the door for someone, Do they always want to come back? Do you find they want to continue working with you? Or is it kind of one or two and then they kind of find a niche that fits them?
So that is the interesting part, because we do express to everybody when it comes down to photography, videography, this, that, and the third, it'll always help you to understand the other roles on production, on set. Because we've been lied to, as a culture, a society, and all this stuff. Everybody wants to be the person that presses the button, that clicks the button, that takes the photo, that captures. They don't know about Digitex. They don't realize that other people are doing edits here, that are doing this, that somebody's doing sound design, somebody may be doing the colorist work, that there are other roles in this. Everybody wants this sexy job. You want to be the photographer, the cinematographer, the director, the DP, or the art director. Those are the five that people pretty much fall in love with and desire. But my work wouldn't be as well as it is if I didn't understand lighting. If I couldn't guide a gaffer, if I couldn't direct my talent, if I couldn't paint out my storyboards, or even in conversation where I've had to come through on comms, where going back and forth between contracts and redlining certain things, where there's nothing that I've been, big on talking to people about. When we get opportunities initially, we see the paperwork and just say, it is what it is. I'm gonna take it for what it is. But at the same time, you have that same power to sit back and say, hey, guys, the budget that we're working with the amount of deliverables, it's not equaling up. I'm not feeling right about this. Is there a chance that we can maybe scale back a third of what we're asking, 20% of what we're asking, because I feel more aligned with that in the budget? Or do we have room for incrementals? When we get caught in a situation where we're so grateful and opportunity, we don't speak to those things. So those are a lot of the things that we put people in roles to understand, to get the experience of, because they know it all plays into the overall picture for them in their career. So I'll say maybe we've had a couple, and I literally mean a couple, that said this was good, but I think I want to explore some other things. When I find those, I'll come back and see how you can support them, or mentor, or shadow, or offer these moments. But the majority of people that have come around, want to stay around. And we've recommended them for other projects with other people. But we also let them know that like to, get classes and usher people in. But at the same time, some of those people we initially started with, if they scaled as they've scaled and grown, their skills have improved. We were allowed to place them in different places, that they're consistent contractors or vendors or people that we work with.
I like how you brought up the fact that it's the paperwork. Don't be blinded by the contract. Make sure your T's are crossed and your I's are dotted.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So many people get a contract and they're just so excited to have it in their hands. They forget that this is a business.
Yeah.
The business that you're about to work at or work for, you're looking at that contract. That business is looking out for themselves.
Absolutely.
And you have to do what's right for you and your crew and the amount of people and time you put into a project.
Absolutely. And we've all been there. And I can slip into a military perspective. I'm not a military guy. I don't come from that, but, grew up as an athlete, relatives were in the military. And, at the end of the day, work isn't war, but I feel like I've been in the trenches with my team, my people. And for me, if I look in those trenches as a general, as a captain, as a leader, whatever I am, and my soldiers or my platoon, my team is, they full of war wounds and beat up and all this stuff at the end of what the production was, I can't go home as a leader feeling good about it. Like, so in that, what I mean by that analogy is like the deliverables or the lift is so heavy and the payoff wasn't worth it for your team, whether it be financially, from a portfolio standpoint, from whatever their role may have been. Those are all the things that you have to look at and just say, well, okay, hey, maybe I do need to negotiate something else. And it may not be drastic. And imposter syndrome and doubt and self-doubt and negative self-talk will allow us to talk ourselves out of confronting that moment of, hey, just be vocal. The worst you're going to hear is a no. You're not going to lose the opportunity. They're not going to be like, I don't want to work with you anymore. They're not going to stop it, because half the time, by the time you've got that contract for your scope of work and your agreement and all that stuff, it's so far down the line for a partner to undo it and walk everything back and go find somebody else is more work than it's worth. So have that conversation.
And that's something I've learned by starting this for myself. I was full of, imposter syndrome because there's a podcast that I love. So when I first started, I was like, wow, I'm really trying to direct it right, like down that line. So I questioned myself. Learning, like I had a gentleman, his name is Josh Katz, super talented Los Angeles photographer.
Mm-hmm.
He shot Killer Mike. So I was like, tell me the story. He's like, man, that's the coolest story ever. I met him in a hot dog shop. And I walked up and said, are you Killer Mike? And he goes like, yeah, man, what's up? And he goes, hey, I'm a portrait photographer. Would you mind if I took, at some point, I got a shot? And he goes, yeah, here's my number. Take it down and we'll figure it out. And that's how he got to shoot Killer Mike. It was just asking that question.
I love that.
Yeah. So stepping out of your comfort zone is a big one. And it's part of the process. Ricky, I really like your approach to helping others grow. So down the line, as I'm moving through some of these new things, there may be some questions I have for you. So I may be like, bro, I need some help. I'm lost.
Always. And I literally mean it always.
I appreciate that. You're New Jersey based.
Mm-hmm.
Do you do most of your work on the East Coast? Do you travel and do whatever it's needed for your job?
So we do travel. We do support. It's all going to be based upon what a client needs and realistically what they can afford. We'll bring out a flex system when it comes out to a lot of those moments. So we do have a lot of, people like yourself, we may have a relationship with somebody someplace else where it makes more sense to involve people wherever we're remote and support from there and just bring it all together. So that's why it helps to build that network and have processes like we do, because it allows us to be very nimble, flexible, and be able to help in a lot of different ways. Because sometimes flying an entire crew someplace isn't the easiest thing, and you never, like when it comes down to like location scouting or understanding certain things or permits or additional talent, additional support that's on ground, whatever you need. You can get out there and find it on your own, but nobody's going to know it better than the people that are there. And that's the fact.
I like that. You incorporate someone from that location really, really takes a lot of the, a big chunk of pressure off if you need those extra things.
Absolutely.
I got lots to learn from you, my friend. Yeah, I'm serious. I like this mentality and this process. Hearing the way you talk about it, it excites me. And that's something that as a new entity, a new business that is blowing my mind and where I'm headed and how quickly everything's coming together, that I know down the line, I will have to add people in to take some of the pressure off me and some of the strain so I can focus on the path of the business And these are things that, and then contracts and all this stuff. It's stuff I'm going to have questions for you, because it's amazing how quick it goes if you have pure faith and belief in yourself.
That's a thing, and I'm sure we've all been conditioned to think that overnight celebrity thing, and it's not the case. Or, one big major moment where it kind of does happen in a blink, but you're never going to be able to pinpoint this one thing and everything changed after that. That's not how it happened. It's kind of like, I guess a video game or going to a class and it's not 101, it's 201 now. And it's like, oh, well, speed and the pace of this is a little bit different. And that's when you realize you start to have a lot of things that fall in that way. So, it's moving a little bit faster. We're working with a little bit bigger people. It's a little bit bigger set, bigger crew, or more people involved. And then that gradually becomes the norm. So that's all it is.
Yeah. We just recently, I guess this morning in my video, I announced my expansion. I have guests coming in from the NFL, the NBA.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you, sir. And it's all based, I just want people to understand it doesn't matter where you are, your status. We all have the same issues. We all have the same mental blocks. We have all these same challenges, but it's how we deal with them. And I just felt like, when Kieran from Hobolite, she's been like my godsend. She has been amazing with her wisdom. When she said, you have such a big platform, you should expand. And then she said their story, the art, the play, like playing at an elite level in the craft is an art form. It takes skill. It takes dedication, heartache. Because I don't know about you, man, but if I was sitting there the whole year going, if I mess up, they're going to get rid of me and I got to start all over. That would just be so much pressure. So I decided I'd reach out to a few of the athletes she recommended, and I've got a couple already lined up. And it's exciting. It's a very exciting change. So far, they're NFL players, but they're also photographers, which is super cool. Wow. So it's a really neat connection on how the photography plays into their daily life. And that's something I'm looking forward to.
That's amazing. I mean, congratulations on that again, because that's something special. And I think you have a lane in that capacity amongst everything. But to do something that hasn't truly been done. So not my points of imposter syndrome. I always feel like anytime I talk about something that's like begging, but not trying to brag about name drop. But I was lucky enough to be at Sony's event, the private event this past fall that they had in New York City. And somehow in conversation, I ended up in a circle of guys with King Griffey Jr. And he's big into his photography now and a Sony guy. And we all get to talking about different things and features and people and all this stuff and conversations with him. So in my mind, when you say that, and I think of him, I think of Randy Johnson, who Randy Johnson sat there and said, I'm more passionate about photography than I ever was about baseball. And everybody's like, dude, you're one of the greatest pitchers of all time. Like, what are you talking about? So it's beautiful. So for you to make that connection to so many people, because now, and we talked about it a little bit before about everybody having access to a camera. Now everybody wants to take a good photo. Regardless of what it is, majority, let's say the majority, you wanted to take a photo, whether it's with take a good photo, whether it's with a camera or their personal phone or whatever they have, they want to take a good photo. So there are a lot of people interested in it than in the past, or at least dipping their toe where people would have been standoffish. So it's something that you can have such a conversation with so many people. It's because everybody wants to control their images and they want to know that it looks good and then what's this. So I think you have a lane and an opportunity for something that is unpaved thus far, but you can clear so much path.
I don't even know what to say, man. Thank you.
What?
As soon as you brought up Ken Griffey, I just pictured him doing his song with Sir Mix-a-Lot. That should age me real quick. But
Oh man,
that when she said it and it clicked in my head about that lane and that they deal with the same stuff as us.
yeah,
One, I want to show the inspiration. I want them, because their stories, a lot of them are so inspiring, coming from nothing and being Super Bowl champion.
yeah,
That takes work. That is a mental struggle to get there. He said, at that moment, I was at my lowest and I was ready to kill myself, but I battled through it.
yeah.
So I got that information and I said, sir, I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you for being here and being strong enough to share that with me.
Absolutely.
We've all lost friends in ways that is not anything we want to be proud of or talk about. We have all had friends who've taken their lives because they thought they were a burden. And another part of me, especially, is for men's mental health, because in the era I grew up in, I'm 49. The era I grew up in, I was told to suck it up, get back on the field. Men don't cry.
Yep.
When I figured out late 30s that was a crock of crap, my life started to change in a way better direction.
I love to hear that, brother.
So in the last few years, I've decided that I'm just going to be authentically myself instead of trying to put myself in a box to appease other people. I just speak what I feel and the truths that I feel. And if people don't like that, I'm sorry, but I'm just trying to stand up for men and give us not even for men, for people, and give us a space to let everyone know it's okay to talk. It's okay to break down. It's okay to be emotional as a man, especially.
Absolutely.
Because if we can break down and get to that emotional level and realize we have a support system around us, our lives are only going to increase tenfold.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate your words, man. I would say it's scary part of it, but it's a very exciting part of the journey, because I feel the level that I started, it's the staircase now.
Yeah.
Right. The more I put out, the more I have community and conversations, the more comfortable I become, the better it's going to be for everyone. Everyone is going to come in and audio is going to get better. And, the whole process is going to get developed in a positive way.
Of course. No, thank you. And I appreciate you taking the time for us to talk and also taking the time to share, man. Like that's a big thing. And it's a very, very purposeful, not purposeful. It's an amazing purpose and something to be very intentional about. And understanding that story yourself and having that experience that you express with others, you break cycles in that capacity. I think about so many different things. It's crazy. I had a conversation with one of the partners the other day because we grew up playing basketball at a high level together. State champions, did this, did that. And I said, well, hey man, I was a starter. I was one of the guys for 40% of my time while I played throughout my entire time in life in basketball. So 60% of the time, I was 6 man, 7 man, second unit, come with a spark, which I'm okay with. And I said, but you know what was bad about that? I said, I went into almost every game looking not to screw up. I put the pressure because it's either, I said, if you're first man off or this and the third or not the superstar on the team or whatever it plans out to be, or you're in that role, I'm like, dog, I had moments where I was either coming in, we had to keep the lead or you need to bring us back. You don't ever just come in there and just can play free. And coaches of a certain time, now I also don't agree with how lightly we approach certain things. because it seems like there's not intention or any seriousness to certain things. Like we need to make sure people understand the magnitude. But also to the other extreme, which I'm sure you experience, it's like, okay, you got a coach, you got a male figure, you have this, whatever they are, applying so much unnecessary pressure that you're in a constant turmoil internally, trying not to lose or fuck up the opportunity. And I gotta say it transparently. To the point where I'm sure there's moments I still carry that on shoot. Because for me, being entirely independent, it is in my mind at times. And transparently, as a black man, you know, knowing that we have to work for different things in different moments. And for me to say, hey, I'm able to hire an all minority crew for a Black History Month commercial, that's important to me. But I also realize for certain people, and this isn't everybody, there may be an additional magnifying glass. There may be less leeway. So what happens in those moments, I've done it myself. I've seen others do it. You get in your own head where it's like, listen, we're getting not the short end of the stick, but let's roll. We have to hit this out of the park, or they're never going to bring us in again. And it's such a black and white mentality, which is part of the world, you know. And I don't mean amongst people. I mean perspective. That, you know, there's no middle ground. There's no gray for so many people. Like it's either bad, like people say, oh, it's trash, or it's amazing. Like it can't be. There has to be some balance in it. There has to be some middle ground. It can't be something's either perfect or it's horrible. So there has to be that. So we get into this cataclysmic thought process that if I don't do great, it wasn't good enough, it was bad, it was average. And if I'm average, it's the end of the world. And that's something we got to work
with. Oh, for sure. I grew up being mad that I always batted fourth. I didn't realize I batted fourth because I carried the big bat.
Oh, yeah.
But I was always mad. Well, why are those three guys getting up right away in the game? Why was I fourth? Mm-hmm. But I didn't realize I was batting cleanup for a reason.
Absolutely.
There's a reason to that. I quit competitive sports because I had a father who, if I missed a play, I would never hear the end of it. And I had a coach who liked to be very derogatory and rip me apart. And they'd wonder why I'd have moments at home where I wasn't comfortable or happy or, you know. So when I was able to walk away from those sports, I found skateboarding, which was another way to express myself and push myself to limits I never imagined. Yeah. But it was solo. It was for me. I didn't have people yelling at me. The only critic I had was myself.
Right.
And then when I lost that, I found photography. Photography replaced the creative spark I got from skateboarding. And then I'm half indigenous. So, and then I'm half Norwegian. So it's a very weird line. So I grew up with white privilege because of my skin. I have light skin.
Yeah.
But I also grew up very strongly wondering, because I was adopted, about my indigenous roots. Mm-hmm. And as I got older, I'd learned more and more about the indigenous culture and the stereotypes and all the people who never made it home from residential schools and all of this stuff. And I connect so closely with that when you talk about hiring an all black crew for that, it's so important. It's so powerful that we do those things. I would love to do an all indigenous project. I'm trying to find a camera brand. I'm trying to connect with a brand like that will see my vision and want to get me 30 cameras that I can put them in the hands of the indigenous youth and indigenous communities and have them capture their community for 30 days. Lay it out on contact sheets and not critique their work, because Jonathan Pitts-Wiley said it perfectly when I was asking him about it. He said, I can't critique art, but I have a responsibility for who I am and where I'm at to offer advice.
Mm-hmm.
And that hit me so deep. I was like, man, that is so much better than that critique word.
Yep.
So that's what I would love to do. And I would love to carry this across North America. So between where I am in Canada, back home to Oregon, where I'm from, and then right across the US and Canada, and just get these cameras in the hands of the youth and let them see the amazingness it is to be creative with, you know, behind the viewfinder. And that's just something that I may pick your brain on how to approach that and approach these companies to get them to see that I'm not just somebody asking for something. There's a vision, there's an end goal, and it's a big project that I believe would make such a difference in the indigenous communities.
So here's what I'm going to throw out, if it's okay. Which one, hearing you speak chills, and that's one of those when I know I'm into the wellness aspect. I can feel what you're saying, and the passion beyond it. Man, you don't need that. And I know a lot of people will say, "Oh, well, everybody says do it on your own." It's do it on your own. Dot. You can pitch them this idea, and perfect world scenario. And not to say this would be the reason why you would do it. You'll always have some percentage of what the idea, initiative, focus is. Some percentage. And maybe gradually that dwindles because how big business does. You'll always have something, but maybe it'll dwindle. Whereas potentially, if you chose a brand or even started with even if it was just point and shoots at $30 and you mailed them out, and I saw something where somebody took the wrappings off and put their own custom stickers on the cameras and put them in a kit and all that stuff. If you did that, what changes? Because what you have, the foundation, it isn't just a foundation. This initiative is perfect. No, there's nothing they can do for you other than money and a physical project. That's my opinion. They can't make it better. Visibility, maybe, sure. Money, physical product. Those three things aren't specific to anybody. They can't make, you have a beautiful thing that's come to you through whatever method, divine intervention, a higher power, God, whatever it is for you, it's come to you as you being a vessel for this. And it is an amazing thing. So in my eyes, if there's a way for, well, not smaller, but if there's a way for you to roll it out, proof of concept, the name's already together, you've got a trademark, you got this. If you put nonprofit side towards it, where everything's already sewn up, you get to say, all right, now when y'all come, because they're going to come to you. Or even if you went to them, hey, here's this thing I've been doing. It's going. Here's the results. We have community. If you want to get involved, we'd love for you to get involved. And here's why. If you don't want to get involved, cool. So-and-so is going to eventually get involved. And we can bring it to them. But this is happening with or without you. So now they have to come out with the best offers they can give you for you to want to have them involved. But if you bring it to them in a sense where I have something I want to do, it allows them to have more say. If it's sewn up and even if you did it 1, 2, 3 times, and hey, because then you get options. You can see if you can get somebody to help. This is complete though. Okay. So if you went out and said 30 cameras, 15, 20, maybe, easier to start that way. You can start programs to get people invested into donating the money towards that. You can negotiate and start partnerships with companies that you may purchase them from, taking them at a better rate so they can get acknowledged as a sponsor, say, hey, if you guys are willing to come down 25, 30, 40%, I will acknowledge you as a part of being involved in it. You get visibility. Find a lab that can do a reduced rate for batch and then ship everybody back their stuff. You now say, okay, even when you come back to XYZ camera company, I've already got these three people, these three entities involved. This is a thing. These are partners in this. This is how this worked for them. What would this do for you if we use your cameras?
Man, I like that idea. Just doing film disposables, just start off that way. That is, thank you. I'm glad you could feel the passion that I feel for. It's not just even the indigenous communities. I feel it can benefit the Black inner city because those kids see so much and there's so much beauty that everybody brushes off for the location of where you live.
Absolutely.
I always have this vision when I see it because I saw them cleaning salmon one day and, you know, the elders were out there, they were cleaning the salmon, but the old hands that can tell 100 stories on the fish, right? Close up, you have that image. Like it just tells a story. And there's just so much I'd love to do. Man, I appreciate that. So what you're saying is get all my ducks in a row, have my I's dotted, my T's crossed, have it all in a package and be like, this is what's happening. Don't even give them the option.
Don't even give them the option. Because if you tell them, here's what I got going on, here's my proof of concept, here's it executed and implemented, I've got a hub of people, we've got social media and all this stuff is in place, it becomes hand in glove. And one thing that's huge that I've gotten from a lot of our clients, I've always been told one reason that they keep us in demand for who we work with is this. It's like, I don't have to give you much instruction. I can lay it out in front of you. I don't have to explain or hold your hand or this and the third. So when a lot of these companies and places see a complete idea that they can just put whatever they need to put into it without it having to be additionally built or blossomed and all that stuff, they love it. And they have the money set aside for it all. Oh, wait, there's this thing? Okay.
I like that. I'll definitely be reaching out and picking your brain on that one too, to get it up. Another idea I did have now it'll be pushed to a different segment of my plan because I'm going to get everything in a row first. Was getting people that inspire me to create maybe a short talking about the idea to create the hype on social media platforms. So when these kids and their parents are looking at it and they look it up and they're like, man, look at all of these people that are supporting this idea, just to help give them some more excitement for it. Because a lot of them are so broken down and from their environment and what they deal with on a daily basis that in reality, I'm just trying to give them an escape, something to be, I'm not trying not to use the word proud anymore. I'm just trying, now there's another word there and I just can't place it right now, but just to give them something other than what their everyday life is.
Absolutely. I mean, so we've started to do some youth programs and especially in that capacity. But what you're talking about is because it's funny. The majority of people, general people, don't realize why so many kids play basketball in inner cities and urban communities. It's not because the courts are there. It's because you don't need much to play the sport. You know, you mentioned baseball, lacrosse, certain sports, you need to invest different. You know, you got to have a certain amount of things to play the sport that every kid doesn't have. Photography is that same way, or has that same stigma for people. It's an expensive art form. You know, if it came down to color pencils and paper, you know, because paints can be more expensive, but not saying that's a bad thing. You can gradually work your way up to it. Color pencils, paper, ink, paper, sketching, this, that, and the third, musical talents, because it may not require some of the same other things. Or photography is an art form. We express all these things. Dance is an art form. Painting, visual, sculpting, food, sports, art form. Photography is an art form. It's like, I gotta be able to edit it. I have to be able to take a good picture. That may require multiple lenses. It may require memory. I may have to charge this. I'm gonna have to take care of this. Or I have to buy film and then get it developed, which is just cost on cost on cost. There's a stigma that needs to be snapped. We need to let people know that this is attainable. You can do this. It doesn't take as much as you think. And what I love about, you know, your generation, my generation, the two generations after me, is if we look to our elders, our parents, our grandparents, this and the third, uncles, aunts, they had one thing they loved. And they leaned into that one thing. You know, this was their thing. And then maybe with parents, you saw, oh, they were into a couple of more things, but they still didn't have a lot. But then when you look at the people now, you spoke to baseball, you spoke to football, to getting skating, to photography. You've made music references while we've been talking, so I'm sure you're a music guy. And it's like, there's so many different things that we're into. And they can be polar opposites, but we're not defined by a single thing. So for all those kids that may have innate skills or interest in photography or videography or framing and concepts and lighting and shadows and design and styling, whatever it is, if they could get it in their hands, the world is their oyster.
100%. I couldn't have put it better myself. The way you just said that. That is the goal, is just to give them the medium in their hand and let them try.
Absolutely.
And let them know there's no wrong. Because, you know, there is rules in photography, but they don't need to worry about the rules right now. I just want to see the ones that could be nurtured into continuing into being an artist, right, and moving away from the traditional, you know, the painting and the carving and the things they do on reserve land. Even down to the point where maybe if there's someone super, super stoked, I find a way to get them a secondhand digital. Just here you go, man. I see this in you. Have fun. None of this is for recognition. This is for pure love of the communities and wanting to see more successes.
You know what I just thought about? As you continue to do Village, what if some of the people that are speaking to it, you said secondhand, can donate and then tell the story of some of their works on this body? It's in the packaging of, you know, I've done all this with this camera. Give it a second life. Fill these shoes. Take it beyond that. And then you connect an artist with whomever, inspire them in that different capacity.
Mind blown. Man, I think you and I might need to sit down and talk more on this idea, because you feel what I'm trying to put out.
Absolutely.
And that is a connection you don't see very often. When someone can feel what you're saying through your words, that is special. So man, I've appreciated everything so far. We haven't even got into the nitty gritty yet. We haven't even got into projects and gear that you choose and what's coming up and your thoughts. but we've been an hour.
Yeah, but this is a real conversation.
Yes, sir.
You know,
And I believe now that you've given me this option and this idea to button up the package, button up my plan and my wording and make sure it's 100% there, send out a couple test groups of disposable cameras, and then just have all of my ammo ready to go. Then there's no question that it will be something special. I'm excited. You've just added a new spark to what I'm into and what I'm looking to do.
that's how the universe works, man. That's how community works.
Yes, sir. Well, I can say I've met so many people since I've started this that I consider them friends now. They're people that I'll go to. They can come to me. And I never would have imagined that me talking into a microphone to people that inspire me that I saw online and that their work is spectacular. But when you meet the person behind that work, it's a completely different level. You know, so most people would look and they'd be like, oh, you guys probably never would even say hi to each other. But you know what? Like, I feel like I've known you forever. And, you know, your mind and the way you talk about business and building that community, it just really helps cement the fact that the angle that I'm going with, and, you know, it's not even an angle. To me, an angle means like I'm looking for something from it. But the path that I'm taking, I just have to stay focused on it, and it's going to bring me everything I could ever imagine.
Absolutely.
I don't get to express this idea as deeply as I did with you.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, they're like, that's a really cool idea, but it doesn't resonate. But when I saw it resonate with you and you felt it, it was, sometimes I have a hard time keeping it in because it means so much to me. And I've been trying to find a way to have something behind me that will help show them that you can do whatever you want to do.
Absolutely.
I get a lot of people that are like, oh, you know, you had this and this growing up. Like, you don't know what I've been through. Don't just judge me by what I have now. There's all of these things that happened in my lifetime that have brought me to this point today, that have helped me overcome the speed bumps and the hurdles that when I thought it was just me, I didn't realize it was a ton of people just like me. I was running in my own lane instead of finding the group that could be like, well, slow down. We've all been there. Let's figure this out. And that's where I'm headed. I want to help the youth. We're losing too many youth. We're losing too many good people in this world that think they're a burden, that think they're not worthy of love and attention. Mm-hmm. And we got to find a way to just stop all that, because it's doing nothing for any of us. Anyway, now that I've rambled and
no rambling. Speaking poignantly and powerful.
Thank you, sir. So what kind of projects do you have coming up?
So we're doing a few things with a few different camera brands. So, you know, more work with Nanlite, with a few things. We've got Unique Photo, that we have the expo coming out. I'll be doing a conversation with them, where I'll be doing a demo. I'll be doing portfolio reviews, conversations, and I'll tell people about my journey and some of the things I recommend to get into the industry to make their stamp. That's one thing I'm excited about. We're going to be supporting a few more festivals and concert shows. That's always cool. There's a few more passion projects and a few more commercial jobs with some spirits brands, some footwear brands, and some different entities there. But the thing I'm most excited about, and you're the first person to get this on record, is Within the next couple of months, hopefully before Q3 is up, I'll be moving into the fine art space. I've been dotting at it and working through certain things now, approaching my artworks with a little bit more, or not more, different type of intention. So, now I'm looking for something in my shots, that I wasn't looking for before. And even so, the work was great before, and I'm not a spray and pray guy. I'm a heavy planner and curating of everything I do with the concepts. But now, I'm almost looking for that perfect shot or that shot that I'm in love with in every composition. So when I say that, I'm thinking about, a subject in front of me, whether it's a product, whether it's a vehicle, a person, a sign, whatever my subject is, I'm approaching it to say, however I move myself and all this stuff, I want composition, shot, frame that I'm in love with from the moment I press the button. Not that, that's to go to, because we can all take that photo. But now when it's stylized, I want my stamp on it even more than it was before. And even so, it's the silliest thing ever. I just changed my caption, or not my caption, my bio on my IG, where I said, I'm a creative director and I got this and I do this, I'm out here and I've done this and that's all cool. But now the focus is just showing the world my perspective. I forgot how I said it, but just capturing the world from my eyes, because that's what it is.
100%.
That's what we all do.
You changed it to just showing how my eyes see the world.
There it is. Just showing how my eyes see the world, and that's my focus now.
Well, I want first conversation when you launch your first piece for sale. I want to push it. I want to really push that. And I'm trying to, another thing I really want to see with the people I bring on when they have projects like this is I want to bring them back so we can see how the progress of the project. A lot of times you hear someone talk about this great project that they have and that they're working on this book, and that's it. You never hear the end of it. They may have said it on a podcast you've never heard of, or they've announced it in a really small post on Instagram. But I want people to be like, hey man, what was it that Ricky was talking about? He was talking about doing this thing. Has he done it? Yeah, man, it's episode 24. He talks about the completion of that project, or how the first steps, or there's prints out, there's this. I really want to have continuation. And it's super important because people get involved and they listen and they're so eager to see what the next step is that going to blank air really doesn't hold the message we're trying to share.
Absolutely. So
I'm excited for you. I can see it for sure. I can definitely see it in the way you take photos. There's a lot that's going to work in the fine art space quite well.
I believe so, and I appreciate that. So, hoping so, and we're starting to, well, not starting to, we've already gone through the curation process for what we would feel would be the first set, the first edition and the first exhibit. We're narrowing down some locations. We've already got our printer that we want to use, so it's coming. It's coming.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Let me know the gallery or where you choose to have your exhibit, and I'll do a big post about it, and I'll share it all over. Just to get
that. I appreciate that.
What's your gear? I know I heard you mention Sony earlier.
Mm-hmm. So on the digital side, I'm a Sony guy. Started out being York adjacent and all this stuff. I've always had a thing for neon signs, bright, all the stuff, all that. So being able to shoot in low light and still retain that quality was important to me. And then for me, it has one, and people may disagree, but I think the interface is a lot more straightforward than other competitors and stuff. But so for digital, I'm a Sony guy. Now, when it comes to film, what do I got here? I've got a Pentax. I've got a Rolly. I've got Mia. I've got a Leica. Leica was what I was waiting on today. I've got an Olympus. I've got a Fuji, but it's not a Fuji. It's a Fujica. Back when they were still that, it was my grandfather's camera. They only made it for a year. Fujica Compact Deluxe. It was like $160, $180 in like 1969. He bought it while he was in Vietnam in the war. So it's a relic and I love it. And what else? I think that's about it from cameras and bodies for the moments now that I still have. Continuous light, I'm a nan light guy. We have built a relationship over the last couple of years. And for my strobes, I'm strictly a pro photo guy. I love pro photo. I know that there are a lot of other competitors that really work and do well. But I've built my kits around those, and they've worked pretty well for me in this time.
And that's important for people to understand too, is when you're comfortable with a product, when you trust a product, you know when you get into that situation, it's going to work. You know, that goes along with learning the ins and outs of the product you use. I talked to a local fine arts school, to the photography 9-10 class. They're photography majors. And I go in and I just do they're very new to photography at this point. So we just talk about loving what you do. If you take a shot, no matter if it doesn't follow the rules, if you love it, there's a reason and you should run with it. So I spoke to them it's about 4 months ago, right before their spring break last month. I got to go back in and they had 36 photos on the wall inspired by my talk.
Really?
And I got to talk to each of the artists about every photo down the wall. First question I'd ask them is, what did you see? And they explain it. And I said, oh, this is what I saw. You know, the leading line that goes perfectly down the center of this image, the reflections, how the colors match throughout it. And the teacher that's at that school, the way she teaches it, it's about passion. It's about learning to love the craft. It's not about doing these technical edits or it's technical, but not like a textbook, you know?
Yeah.
Shoot what you love. They get to develop in a darkroom. Like, they shoot a ton of film. It's such a cool endeavor that I just was able to gift them a whole Hobolight setup to give them new lighting in the school.
I love that, dude.
I'm ecstatic for it because I've never been in an opportunity where my passion and love of a craft can help others that much. So I'm very fortunate for the brand that I'm associated with and their belief in me, that I was now able to gift them a whole new lighting setup. So now they have brand new stuff. The kids are going to learn on state-of-the-art product. And the teacher's excited. They're excited. I'm excited. So yeah, man, it's been crazy. It's been a crazy journey. I love bringing people like yourself in and that have that same passion, and I can see it and I feel connected. Yeah, I would love to, anything we can do to help support you or work together somehow in this space, I would be so for it. I am trying to get to New York this year. It's been on my bucket list since I was 8 years old and I've never made it. So I'd like to get out there and shoot New York. I'd like to do New York. There's quite a few people in New Jersey, yourself included, Washington, Rhode Island. There's just all sorts of people that I've connected with in that stretch that I would love to just come out for, a week or so and just meet everybody in person and shoot and just, I'm like a sponge. I like to absorb how people work because it gives me thoughts outside of what I normally shoot or how I shoot. Oh, you can hear my dog now.
Ironically, I mean, I'm gonna be in Canada. I'm gonna be in Toronto at a point, but in August I'll be coming out to Toronto for Carabana to shoot and just I want to capture the color and the culture and all that stuff. So yeah, I'll be coming out. I was gonna say, what part of Canada are you in?
I'm in British Columbia, so I'm on the West Coast.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Well,
about 6-7 hour flight.
okay. I got a buddy that's in Portland that I'm supposed to visit at a point.
I'm from Portland, so I would love to come and meet you if you're there.
Yeah, I mean, so if that's easier. And
So
you mentioned Washington.
Yeah, I got family all through Washington, so I have 5 hours from here to Portland.
Okay.
And that's by car.
That's my car.
Yeah, it's like 45 minutes by plane or an hour.
Okay.
Yeah. So that would be awesome. I would love to, man. I would love to just shoot and just get to know you better and get to know just some more advice for what I'm heading into, because I haven't really navigated those waters yet. Yeah, so I mean, we can grab a couple more things here and then we can get you going.
Okay.
Do you have a connection between your mental health and your creativity? Or a thought process on mental health and the creative space? Okay, awesome.
I mean, so my thought process on mental health in the creative space is very big. You heard us talking about imposter syndrome. We talked about turning inward. You know, there's so many different things. There's codependency when it comes down to certain things in the creative space. People don't even realize unnecessary external validation. And even so, that comparison aspect of it too, that can be tough for people because right now we live in a space where we see so many and we get inspired by so many, but we don't always know when to shut off or when to separate, how to separate. And I don't like to believe in extremes. So I don't like polar ends of anything. So you have the people that sit there and say, oh, well, I'm always looking at what everybody else is doing and trying to be ahead. And it's like, you don't need to do that. Or you have the people that are on the other end of the scale that are like, oh, I refuse to look at any timeline or anything like that when I have a project going because it needs to be me and it needs to be that. And I see those extremes. But the biggest thing that I can sit there and say about wellness and mental health around this in the creative space is right now I'm at my work desk. I built my home up, set up all this stuff, this area of my home. I don't eat here. And I use a laptop connected to the monitor in the back. And I won't take my laptop and then go into another room to work in other spaces in my home. So dedicated space. And I picked that from James Clear and Atomic Habits. And it's crazy, I read it during the pandemic, and it was written before that, but they talked about the work from home experience before it really started to kick in. And it was ironic because it's like, okay, if you have your laptop in your bed, you turn over, you wake up and you immediately get to work and you're checking your phone for your email. Now your bed has almost been corrupted with overlap of things that aren't dedicated to that space. So I won't eat while I'm here. So I'm just eating and working at the same time. No, I need to separate my mind from all these things. When I get up and sit here and work, my mind knows it's to work. When I go to the table or go to the couch and eat, okay, I'm relaxed. I won't eat my same way. It's kind of just those different things. of compartmentalizing, allowing you to turn on and turn off and not have overlap of thoughts, different things is critical for me right now within my creative journey. Because when I want to be creative, I get up and I go be creative. When I want to relax, the area where I relax, the areas where I relax are dedicated to it. I also tell people, and which I'm sure you'll understand, as we navigate different moments, you start writing out the things. I tell people now, because you always heard that you always got to keep the camera on you. What happens if a shot happens? Okay, the shot happened. Maybe I don't need to take the shot. Maybe I just need to appreciate it. Maybe I just need to appreciate the moment. When I'm invited to something and I'm a guest and I'm not paid to shoot, I don't need to be hauling around big gig camera. If I want to bring a point and shoot and just capture some in the moment stuff that here's a moment I want to make a memory out of, then that's what I want to do. But I shouldn't feel the need to capture everything. Just turn off. You were invited there as a guest for a reason. Be present. That's my second thing that I'm big on. And the other thing is I absolutely have grown to despise grind culture. So, the Steve Harveys of the world of you only need 5 hours of sleep. Those other 3 hours, the stock market opens up at 8 a.m. on the East Coast, which is 5 a.m. here. If you're not waking up till 8 o'clock, business has been going for 3 hours. It's almost lunchtime. I don't believe in it. You will do more for yourself, do more for the world, do more for the others around you when you are rested, when you are balanced, when you're centered, and you're not looking to chase a thing. Like, we've been conditioned to think, go get it, hustle, make it happen, all that stuff. Cool. Listen, we don't do that in so many other areas. If you were moving around frantic and nonstop on the field, in any other arena, on stage, on this, in a movie, it's chaotic. But on a non-tangible thing, when we're told we need to go, attain, accomplish, success, goals, accolades, things that matter, my mantle, I need to fill my mantle. We've conditioned ourselves not to live, not to appreciate life, not to be intentional about things, and not to be able to practice gratitude. You can't even appreciate what you accomplished because you're already on to the next thing. Because you've been conditioned to go. What's next? You still haven't reached your goal. The goal it's okay.
I recorded so many episodes over the first month and a half that I didn't want the information to get stale. So instead of once a week, I was releasing 2 episodes a week.
Yeah.
And now I'm trying to come back from that, but it's really hard to, because the involvement of the people listening to the podcast has been so overwhelming supportive that I'm afraid now if I drop it to 1, that it's not going to carry the same weight. But for my own mental and physical health and my relationships and just life in general, I need to do that.
Absolutely.
I'm transitioning at the end of, I think it was the end of May. I'm going to transition back to the one episode a week, which is still, it's still 4 episodes a month.
There's so many different ways for you to approach it, but the fact that you realize what you need for your life is more important than anything. I tell people all the time, nothing goes if we can. So if people want anything and want to stay connected, but just putting a tax on you, there's no way to sit there and make that happen and still deliver in the greatest capacity possible. And who knows if maybe it's a seasonal thing where you find or a chapter or a moment where you feel like you can go back to doubling down, then maybe that works. But the audience has to understand. I mean, summer's coming, life's coming, family's coming. You know, even in a situation where, like, right now we're having a lot of conversation. If you found out a way to say, I'll do a primary episode and then a point 0.5 with the guest. So then you don't have to record a whole new episode. And you just cut out an excerpt that you left out to say, I'll give them this, and then through the week, these are some buzz topics that we can put together, and just say a point 0.5 episode. So here's the continuation. So people still get that volume, but it doesn't put as much of a lift on you.
That was one of the things I put in my notes, in my notepad. I carry a little book with me everywhere now.
Love it.
And I write down, I jot down ideas. I walk to and from work. It's about 5 kilometers, so about 2.5 miles each way. And I have my GoPro and I just record B-roll because I'm trying to learn video. So, I mean, what better way, right? Just to get out and do it. So just telling myself what's important and what I need to focus on, or even quotes that I hear throughout the day. You know, you always hear something, you write it down, you keep that information fresh. And just, you know, the 0.5 was an idea. But I think for me, I have to just be confident and comfortable that one episode a week is a lot when you think about a year of one episode a week, right? I've been doing this 2.5 months and I just released episode 19 this morning.
That's a lot.
So it's time. I might actually even slow down sooner than that. It really depends, because I also, in this rush, in this all this work, I mean, I work a full-time job and then I come home and work a full-time job. So I also forget that I'm a photographer, and that's what got me in here. So I haven't shot photos. My camera sits in my bag and it's like, hey, remember me? So I need to work on those things. I need to work on getting everything in place. And I think only having to edit one episode a week would be such a freeing time. Lots to change over here, but it's all, I see it all. So I know, at least I know that I'm not trying to talk myself into working more, because the whole point of this is to put out a good project and work less, enjoy life more.
There you go.
So, well, man, I appreciate all your time.
Of course.
I look forward to chatting and catching up on your exhibition and where you're headed. And if you do make it out to Portland, please let me know.
Absolutely will.
I got family in Portland still. I miss that state very, very much. I've been in Canada since 1989, but Portland's still home.
There you go.
So, any last words you want to say to anyone? Any advice?
My advice would be, your village, life for them, which is outside window. Between, perspective is everything. We go to different corners of the world. What someone will define as life is going to be drastically different. And I say that if you feel like your life, your village, your people are where you are only, and maybe they don't align with you, they don't make you feel the way you want to feel, they don't make you feel fulfilled, just continue to have faith and believe that there are plenty of other people out there that are your people. They may not be in arm's reach at the moment in a physical aspect, but your people that understand you, that get you, that validate you, that support you, that'll run up. You don't have to overly explain things to, or whatever it is that support you tenfold. They're there. And don't allow what you see outside your window to be what you believe life to be.
Well said. Where can they find you online? Where's the best place to find you?
Best platform is going to be Instagram at the moment. Online, it'll be for there. Speaks Game Fresh. Ricky Shoebio on Twitter. If you're using Threads, it's Space Camp Fresh, and Ricky Shoebio every place else. And you can see the website at bigkids.com. That's KYDS, and that's what I said.
I will link all those in the show notes. All right, man. Well, thank you so much for your time today,
Appreciate you,
and your advice and your ideas. Continue to do what you do because you have a gift the world needs to see. And I look forward to this new endeavor for the fine art prints. So anything I can do to help you promote that, whether we do a special episode for it, to announce the launch of it, whatever you need from me, man, just let me know.
I'll definitely do it. And definitely down for it. And my thing is being a resource. So my phone's on. Just feel free to reach out, whatever you need.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Life of Phys Podcast. I hope you've enjoyed our show, and don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. Your feedback helps us continue to bring you content and the stories of our incredible guests. And remember to stay connected with us on all social media platforms. It's at LIFE_OF_PHYS, or on the internet at www.lifeofphys.com. Thank you for tuning in, and have a great day.